How safe do you think food is in the United States? Well, what if I told you that this chili powder from Walmart contains lead? In 2021, Consumer Reports did a survey of 126 spices and seasonings available in your average grocery store, and they found that 1/3 of them contain enough heavy metals and toxins such as lead to pose a significant health risk to children. It's not just contaminants in spices and seasonings that pose a health risk to us, though. There are a lot of additives and ingredients intentionally put into our food that we eat every day as Americans, which are unsafe. I have ulcerative colitis, which is a digestive disease, and when I was diagnosed a few years ago, my doctor mentioned how he believes it's connected to glyphosate having been on food that I consumed. Since then, I've done thousands of hours of researching, reading research papers, studies, lab reports, listening to doctors and professors' lectures about the relationship between additives put in our food and how they relate to digestive health and digestive diseases. I found that, unfortunately, the FDA has not done a good enough job protecting us from harmful ingredients being in our food. They haven't done a sufficient job of testing our food or ensuring that the ingredients that manufacturers put into the food are actually safe for us to consume. So I'd like to cover 3 points. The first point being that much of the food we consume every day in America is unsafe. The second is that the FDA has unfortunately not done a good enough job protecting us from harmful ingredients. And the third is solutions for this problem, how we can fix this issue. So, on the first point, much of the food that we consume here in America contains ingredients which are not safe to consume. An example would be BHA or BHT, which is perfectly legal here in the US, but in other countries such as Canada and Japan, Germany and France, it is either illegal or heavily regulated. But again, despite being regulated or illegal in other countries, is entirely legal here and is commonly used. You can find it in a lot of foods such as cake mixes and baking ingredients and other items that we consume. It is very commonly used here. Now, there are many studies showing how BHT is unsafe. There were studies done on mice that showed that BHA and BHT caused lung damage and even lung cancer in the mice. Despite that, the FDA hasn't banned it or regulated BHA in any way. Now, there's other ingredients that are more natural but are still unsafe, such as carrageenan. Carrageenan comes from seaweed and is put in many products, such as ice cream, dairy products like yogurt, even toothpaste. It's put in these foods and products to give them either a creamy texture or more of a gel-like texture. Now, carrageenan has been shown in many studies, such as those published by the National Library of Medicine. It's been shown to have a terrible effect on the digestive system. Carrageenan negatively impacts the mucosal layer of the digestive tract that protects our internal organs from stomach acid while you're digesting your food. It also causes severe inflammation and especially has a negative impact on people with digestive issues like irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's disease. And on experiments done on mice has caused issues like colon cancer, digestive diseases. It has ruined the gut biome that is in the stomach that helps us digest our food, and if you destroy that, we have much worse digestive health. And it's had negative impacts on all these aspects. But despite this, it is still commonly used in a lot of foods. Now, there's other products that are not necessarily put in our food, but put on them, such as glyphosate, which I mentioned already. Glyphosate is produced by companies such as Monsanto. It's used as a pesticide on crops such as corn and wheat, and it's very commonly used today in the United States. However, it is not safe. In fact, Monsanto has already paid over $11 billion in damages for settlements for over 100,000 lawsuits. And according to the Lawsuit Information Center, there are still over 54,000 lawsuits that are ongoing. Now, glyphosate has been shown to cause cancer, digestive issues, skin cancer, colon cancer, heart issues, and many other health issues. It's proven in many studies, much lab work, and a lot of other areas of research. It's been shown to have negative health implications. But the FDA hasn't done anything to ban glyphosate or to limit its use. So what has the FDA done to protect our food and what we eat every day? What have they done to protect us from unsafe ingredients? Well, the FDA was originally formed in 1906 by President Theodore Roosevelt, and since it was founded, it's grown a lot. They're now responsible for responsibilities other than just protecting us from adulterated food and mislabeled products like it was in 1906. They now ensure safety of like restaurants and making sure that food that we eat doesn't contain contaminants. However, as shown in the examples that I gave, they haven't done a very good job. Now, 5 of the 6 students that I polled believe that it is the FDA's job to protect us from harmful ingredients in our food. As part of the government, it's our government's job to ensure the safety of us citizens. Now, despite this responsibility being given to them, they haven't done a very good job. They have not protected us from things such as the heavy metals in the spices. Now, even though those spices came out in a report 3 years ago that those spices contain all those unhealthy toxins and heavy metals, the FDA didn't recall a single one of those. And the only one was actually recalled by the company itself and not done so by any efforts of the FDA. So what can we do to ensure that the FDA is doing a better job protecting us? Well, the main thing to be done is we need better legislation. There are not enough laws regulating how the FDA operates and governing how they test ingredients in our food. This is on a federal level as well as a state level. For example, California, they are much more stricter on food regulations than the federal government. But despite even California's more strict laws, it's not good enough. There's still a lot of harmful ingredients that are slipping through. So we need more laws ensuring that all ingredients that are added into our food, like unpronounceable chemicals, are tested sufficiently to see if they have negative health aspects, and if they do, what those are, and whether or not they present enough risk where they should be banned or prevented from being put into our food. The second thing that we can do is contact our local representatives. It's harder to get things done on a federal level, so contacting your state representatives is much more impactful than contacting federal representatives, although you should contact all of them to help address this issue. If we can get legislation passed that protects us from all these harmful ingredients, then we're all better off as a nation, and we're all safer and healthier and can eat without worrying about the risk. So in summary, there are 3 points. One is that much of our food we eat every day is unsafe. 2 is that the FDA unfortunately does not do a good enough job protecting us from harmful ingredients. And 3, we should act in presenting more legislation and contacting our representatives on getting rules put into place that will protect us from dangerous chemicals. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that please check the food that you eat, check it for harmful ingredients, and try to find out whether the food you're eating every day is safe for you to eat. And please avoid foods that are dangerous, because you definitely do not want to make a pot of chili and then give your grandma lead poisoning.